As we come to this time of shared meditation before the message, I invite you to get comfortable. Let your body shift, scooch if you need, to come into stillness. If you're comfortable closing your eyes or just letting your gaze soften, you can do that. Maybe it's easier to focus on the candle flame. And I invite you to pray with me and for me that in the sanctuary of this community, in the shelter of each other, that all that God invites us to share and receive, that we are open to that grace in this moment. I invite you to come into awareness of your breath in and out, the breath of God moving in you and as you. Just noticing the breath as it ebbs and flows. Letting the sound of Roger's gentle guitar, the sound of my voice, be nothing more than an invitation to go deeper inward. Sensing the holy presence expressing as you in this moment, in your life. Breathing in and out. Our heart beats entrain to each other when we gather in this stillness. We become echoes of the one heartbeat that is love, that is all of creation. That is the Spirit moving on earth in us, as us. In this sanctuary that is only holy because we are present in it, we open ourselves to the gift, the sound of little voices. The feel of our breath in and out. Centering in the gift of creating shelter, hand in hand with the Holy One, alive in every breath. And filled with the reminder of that presence in us, that presence here with us, beyond us. we come back fully into this room. Into the gift of being together. In the fullness of who we are. One of the things about unity is we don't actually follow the lectionary, and yet the lectionary is available. I was very tempted, I have to say, by today's gospel reading from Luke, because in it, churches around the world will be hearing the story of Jesus dining at the home of a Pharisee. And Jesus shares a parable that is not only about inviting the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the blind to the table, but he also admonishes the wealthy and privileged against the practice of issuing invitations as part of the economic system they've adopted from the Roman Empire. So, as is often the case, Jesus is reminding us that we are called to care for each other, to care for the vulnerable, and to resist the lure of empire's power and privilege. Instead of me giving that talk, you should follow Diana Butler Bass, if you don't already, and read her Sunday musings in the cottage today, because that is the focus of her reflection. And it's amazing. So I invite you to find Diana Butler Bass either on her website or on Substack. Because I kept coming back over, actually from a couple of weeks ago, the little mantra, the little echo in my prayer has been taken from the gospel that is the story of my favorite miracle, and that is the loaves and fishes. And just the line, "You feed them. You feed them," has been really replaying in my mind, in my prayers, in my heart. So that felt pretty perfect also for this gathering. A good focus on the fact that we can do more together. So I'm going to read first from Matthew chapter 14, verses 13 to 21. Now when Jesus heard this, he withdrew from there in a boat to a deserted place by himself. But when the crowds heard it, they followed him on foot from the towns. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them and cured their sick. When it was evening, the disciples said to him, "This is a deserted place, and the hour is now late. Send the crowds away so that they may go into the villages and buy food for themselves." Jesus said to them, "They need not go away. You give them something to eat." They replied, "We have nothing here but 5 loaves and 2 fish." And he said, "Bring them here to me." Then he ordered the crowds to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and blessed and broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the crowds. And all ate and were filled. And they took up what was left over of the broken pieces and filled 12 baskets. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. They need not go away. You give them something to eat. Each gospel writer shares this story, slightly different variations of how many baskets are left at the end. But it's the same basic narrative arc. The crowds have followed Jesus, and he has performed miracles of healing. Now it's late, and the disciples are starting to fret. They want to send the crowds back into the villages, go send them off to find something to eat so we can eat our 5 loaves and our 2 fish. Jesus admonishes them with love. You give them something to eat. Then Jesus prays and gives thanks. He blesses the food, and there's more than enough, and there is left over. It's my favorite miracle because this is how I picture it. When Jesus paused to give thanks, it opened up the crowd to share what little they had. To me, the miracle doesn't have to be that those specific 5 loaves got broken up into so many little bits and pieces that it still had leftovers. To me, the moment of generosity and thanks that Jesus shared said, oh, wait, here's a fisherman and his wife, and they have a little bit of cheese. Here, have some of my cheese. Oh, you brought figs? They don't have any. Can you? Okay, great. Here's another loaf. I have fish. And pretty soon, those little Jewish mamas and grandmamas were sitting the little ones down and making sure they had a piece of bread and a piece of cheese. And everybody shared what they had. And there was such abundance afterwards that they gathered up the rest and had 12 baskets. The disciples fret. Do we fret? Do you fret? Do you ever fret? Jesus prays. People are fed. Together, we can do more. I love that both Unity and Focus share this thread of putting love into action, putting faith into action. Our mission, we embrace the divine through prayer and service in our community and in the world. The mission of Focus, we respond to our neighbors' needs in the city of Albany and beyond, answering God's call. Together, we can do more. In that passage from Matthew, right before it, before Jesus has blessed the food and looked with compassion on this hungry crowd, before he has healed their sicknesses, the passage before this is all about Jesus being told of the death of his cousin, John the Baptist. So I imagine now Jesus, his heart heavy with grief. His beloved cousin has died. And here he is with his own grief, and maybe despairing over the fretting of the disciples and the constancy of having to say, this is the message, people, it's so simple. It's so simple, why don't you get it? His heart heavy with grief, maybe despairing at the challenges of teaching over and over. But he first gives thanks. And in that moment, maybe with a heart heavy, looking at how we humans continue to fumble and stumble and break each other's hearts by those social changes that we somehow don't ever fully quite get right. Jesus gives thanks and invites the crowd to open their hearts and to share what they have. and create the abundance that is always there of love, of food, of all of the ways we're invited to feed each other. I sometimes fret. We sometimes fret. We see the aching needs of our neighbors. It is impossible to not see the aching needs that are alive right now, in this moment. And yet we are called to awaken our hearts. Jesus, the way shower, and every other path, wisdom, tradition invites us to the right action of caring for each other. How do we let that holy heartbreak awaken us more deeply to the call to be love? Let's listen now to a song calling us to awaken more deeply to that love. And then I'll come back. We fret, we forget, and then we awaken. We awaken to that call, and we answer it in our own ways. I could no more stand up there like these beautiful musicians and answer the call in that way. We answer the call, and yet we come together because we know that inside path, listening to our call, only comes to life fully when we do that in community, when we show up with and for each other. So I want to offer to a blessing by one of my favorite poets, Jan Richardson. She has a beautiful book called Circle of Grace, and it follows the church year. This is one of the poem prayer blessings about Pentecost. And so as we're nearing the end of that season of Pentecost and reveling in the warmth of the outside world and reveling in the gift of being together, not only despite those challenges, but we come together because of those challenges to strengthen each other on the journey. And so here is When We Breathe Together. This is the blessing we cannot speak by ourselves. This is the blessing we cannot summon by our own devices, cannot shape to our own purposes, cannot bend to our own will. This is the blessing that comes when we leave behind our aloneness, when we gather together, when we turn toward one another. This is the blessing that blazes among us when we speak the words strange to our ears, when we finally listen into the chaos, when we breathe together at last. There is so much chaos. Much of the chaos that we are facing is unique to our particular moment in history, to this culture that we live in that exalts individualism over the common good. Consumerism over living simply so that others may simply live. Violence and othering over love your neighbor as yourself. Yet some of the chaos of the human experience is also echoed in the ancient holy texts of Scripture, of the myths and stories from around the world of how humans are when we come together. We are not always using the words that are the rays of light. Sometimes we use the words that are the swords. And yet always, from the beginning of time, has also been possibility. From that chaos comes new creation. We are invited to be made new in every breath, in every action, in every time we step up as the hands and heart and voice of the holy mystery. In the awakening of our own hearts, we can hear the cries of the earth, the cries of the poor, the needs of our neighbors. And we then join our gifts to each other so that together we can not only do more, we can be more love, more compassion, more peace in this moment of chaos that needs us, just as we are, fully human, fully divine, fully one. And so it is. Amen.